Hey, my name is Juliet, Julie for short, and I used to be a bully. Throughout high school, I judged everybody. I spoke behind everyone's backs. I also insulted everyone to their face. I was just mean all the time. I was like a whole squad of mean girls in one. I bullied people for being short. I bullied people for being tall. I bullied people for being fat, skinny, and, well, too normal. I bullied people for acne, for freckles, for coarse skin, for using lotion too much. I bullied people for wearing too much makeup, and also for no makeup. I bullied people for their voice, for their laughs, for being too loud, for being too quiet. I bullied people that came from bad homes and had crappy parents. I bullied people that had great homes for having lives that were too easy. I bullied people that loved sports, and I bullied those that hated sports. Heck, if you'd given $10 million to charity, I'd make fun of you for not giving $11 million. No one was safe. The glass was never half full. In fact, the glass was depressed because I called it ugly. If every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings, then every time I spoke, a demon got his horns. In the 10th grade, I was popular. But by the 12th grade, I had no friends. Aside from my boyfriend, who was really just a sponge for all the toxicity I released. He put up with my gossiping. The sad part is, I had acne, wore makeup, and was a little overweight. I came from a bad home. I hated sports, and so on. I was a huge hypocrite and was definitely projecting my insecurities onto others. However, one might ask, where did these insecurities come from in the first place? The answer is not completely simple. Some of them came from the media. Some of them came from people who judged me in middle school. But most of them came from my home life. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and my parents would always compare me to them in the most negative ways. Compared to my brother and sister, I couldn't do anything right. And probably, compared to me, they couldn't do anything right either. My parents just saw everything as a flaw, and that became how I thought about other people. All I saw were their flaws, on myself and on others. But here's how that changed. At our 12th grade graduation party, I was talking to my boyfriend Mike about how much I hated his mother's hair. She had gray roots, split ends, and knots. I told him it was like she was wearing a scarecrow's wig, which was harsher than normal. I was drinking alcohol and got a little bit too comfortable. But he was drinking too, and so he too was more comfortable. He started to speak his mind. Mike told me right there that I was a huge female dog, like the Clifford of huge female dogs, and that all I did was inject people with poison, that I was a snake with fangs of insecurity. He actually didn't phrase it quite as poetically, but I prefer telling it that way. Anyways, because of my attitude, he said we were over. So I started bawling my eyes out and ran to the bathroom, where I stood at the sink and continued to bawl my eyes out. I was dropping enough tears to water the rainforest. Other girls saw me crying and ignored me, probably because I'd treated them all so terribly. Until finally, one girl put her arm on my shoulder and asked me if I was all right. I looked up at her. She was covered in acne, freckles. She had split ends. She was chubby. She was certainly one of my verbal punching bags. I said I was so sorry. She was showing me compassion despite my actions to her. Forgiving her abuser, in a sense. That's something I had never even tried to do regarding my parents. She said it was okay and patted my back. I told her, "Enjoy the party, it'll be fine," and left the bathroom. Then I got a volunteer DD to drive me home. DD stands for designated driver, by the way, which is weird because it could also stand for drunk driver, and that's the opposite thing, but whatever. After that, I made an effort to change how I treated people. Unfortunately, my mind had become so quick to judge people that it continued to do so, But over time, I forgot the judgments and forced myself to look for the good in people, thinking hard about how to create compliments that would usually be insults. Like, that guy's not overweight. He's spatially impressive. Or, that girl's not ugly. She just has very unique features. Fast forward, now I work at a hospital as a nurse and make it a daily goal to make people feel better. The glass still isn't half full because now there's free refills. Wait, does that make sense? Well, okay, what I meant is I'm a lot more positive. That's my story. Peace out.
Hi, I'm Nicole, and that guy over there is my boyfriend Mike. He's kind of a goofball, but I love him, I think. Well, he drives me crazy, but he's a really good guy. We've been together a long time, and we get along for the most part. But I have to admit, I complain about him a lot. It's probably not fair, but sometimes I just need to vent to my friends. That is exactly what got me into trouble, though. This is my friend Lexi. We've been friends since the 3rd grade, and we tell each other everything, or at least we used to. We used to spend all of our time together. We talked, we laughed, we did practically everything together. People even used to think we were sisters. I guess it all changed when I started dating Mike. She was still single for a long time before she met Alex. Alex was one of the most popular guys in school. He was a superstar on the football team. He had a band. He was really smart and had a ton of friends. I'm really not sure how someone can pack all of those qualities together, but somehow he did it. He was so popular. I guess I was a little jealous at one point. I mean, I would look at Lexi and Alex and they just seemed so perfect together. Then I looked at Mike and I saw a guy with mustard stains on his shirt and a childlike appreciation for cartoons and cereal with marshmallows in it. She had the captain of the football team, and I had the guy who belched the national anthem in the 4th grade talent show. But like I said, Mike is a great guy. But I was kind of getting tired of some of his personality traits. He's a bit immature, and as you may have gathered, he's a little clingy. And he doesn't seem to have a real direction in his life or drive to do anything besides watch movies. It got to the point where I was always talking to Lexi about him. It was kind of ridiculous how much I complained about him, but I felt like Lexi was a safe place and the only person I could talk to about him. She was the only one I thought I could trust. Trust is a funny thing, though. Remember Alex? Remember I told you how popular he is? Well, it turns out he was really popular with Jessica, Kelly, Allison, Maggie, and Amanda, too. A little more popular than Lexi would have preferred, as it turned out. So after she caught him cheating, forgave him, and then caught him cheating 2 more times, Lexi broke up with him. She was pretty upset for a while. She would come over to my house, and we talked more than we had in months. She started hanging out with me and Mike. We would all go to the movies and stuff like that. I felt bad for her that her relationship had fallen apart the way it did, but I was kind of enjoying more time with my best friend. I never expected things to go the way they did. When I think back on it now, I realize that our conversations were different than they had been before. Something had changed, and I didn't notice it at the time. Back in the day when I complained about my boyfriend, she would just kind of listen and nod. All of a sudden, she was giving me more feedback and telling me that I was too good for him and that I deserved better. The way she talked to me, she was harder on him than I was. The thing is, she was also talking to him a little different too. I found out that she had been talking to him and telling him that I don't treat him right and that he would be better off without me. She was seriously trying to break us up. I was furious when I found out. My first thought was, I guess she has to destroy other people's relationships since she doesn't have her own anymore. But I don't think that was it at all. I realized that she wanted my boyfriend for herself. The more I thought about it, it occurred to me that Alex screwed her over, and she saw something in Mike that I had been overlooking. She saw a nice guy who would never treat her like that. She didn't succeed in breaking us up, but she made me feel horrible about the way I had treated him, and she made me feel sad and angry because I lost a friend. I know that she was going through a hard time when she did what she did, and I feel like I have some of the blame myself, but I just don't think I can forgive her. I want my friend back, and I don't know what to do. What would you do in this situation?
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and comment below. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.